10 cities to visit in Poland. Despite having undergone so much suffering and destruction during the Second World War, Poland remains a fascinating place to explore. Magical old towns with their cobbled streets and beautiful architecture sit next to communist-era buildings and delightful Gothic churches. Fantastic restaurants can be found wherever you go, and there is an abundance of lively nightlife spots throughout the country. With beautiful mountains on offer, as well as lovely seaside resorts, the diverse landscapes that surround the best cities in Poland add yet more possibilities to visitors' itineraries. Once home to a thriving Jewish population, Poland's cities are now home to poignant memorials and monuments to the victims of one of the biggest tragedies of the 20th century, with many visitors heading to sites such as Auschwitz to pay homage to and learn about the atrocities of the past. 10. Szczecin. Lying between Berlin and Gdańsk, this busy port city has an eclectic mix of different architectural styles and is seldom visited by non-German tourists. Although renovations are ongoing, Szczecin is falling apart a bit. Old Art Nouveau mansions now lie side by side with modern glass shopping malls, derelict buildings and empty plots. The city center has lots of shopping and dining options, and its large student body and busy port mean that there's a youthful vibe in town. 9. Lodz. The third largest city in the country, Lodz's industrial past, coupled with German occupation and communist rule, has resulted in grim and decaying streets and buildings. Hope is at hand, however, as a massive renovation program has led to shopping malls and business centers springing up among the ruins of the past. This mix is fascinating to witness, and you can find some hidden gems scattered around the old industrial warehouses. For visitors interested in Jewish history and heritage, the city's monuments and cemetery are now a sad and poignant reminder of Lodz's once thriving Jewish population. 8. Katowice. A relatively new city, Katowice owes its current standing to its location at the center of 14 cities in its region of Poland, and the industrial boom of the 19th century. Consequently, it is a commercial and cultural center within the region, although it lacks historical sites due to its relatively recent emergence. With lots of restaurants, bars and cafes to choose from, as well as some interesting cultural sites, Katowice is well worth a visit and has great transport links to the surrounding area. 7. Lublin. While not the prettiest place in the world, Lublin has more than enough to justify a visit to the city. Heavily bombed in the Second World War, the post-war communist-era buildings give Lublin a slightly drab look, although there are some nice townhouses to be found here and there. The largest city in the southeast of the country, there are lots of bars, restaurants, cafes and clubs, as well as a number of cultural attractions which are worth a visit. Once nicknamed the Jewish Oxford, as it was a thriving Jewish center of learning, Lublin still has a number of interesting sites relating to its Jewish past, despite the horrors of World War II, which tragically put an end to this rich cultural heritage. 6. Torun. Located on the Vistula, this lovely city is an absolute delight to wander around. Its peaceful streets seem a world away from more popular tourist destinations in Poland. A walled city, Torun's Gothic old town has some fantastic architecture for visitors to view. Tucked away amidst its winding streets you'll find lovely atmospheric bars and restaurants, as well as sites and images related to two of Torun's claims to fame, Nicolaus Copernicus, who was born here, and the famous gingerbread that originated from the city. 5. Poznan. Buzzing with energy and a youthful feel, Poznan is a fun city to hang out in. The capital of Wielkopolska, its old town has lots of great historical sites to visit, as well as some fantastic museums. The city's large student population means that its restaurants, bars and clubs are full of life, while the trade fairs that are hosted in Poznan attract a different clientele entirely. From here, there are great transport links from which you can explore the surrounding region. 4. Wrocław. A charming place to visit, Wrocław's diverse influences have resulted in a unique look and culture to the city. With Austria, Bohemia and Prussia all having had an impact on the city's development, the architecture reflects Wrocław's past, as evidenced by the spectacular Rynok Market Square. Located on the Odra River, Wrocław has a plethora of bridges and lovely parks lining its banks, which make it a picturesque place to relax. The delightful Cathedral Island is definitely worth stopping by. The fourth largest city in the country has a lively arts and culture scene, with lots of festivals and events taking place here throughout the year. With a large student population and bustling nightlife scene, Wrocław has everything you could want in a city. 3. Gdańsk. Unlike any other city in Poland, Gdańsk's tumultuous history has resulted in a unique identity and look. Due to its large port, Wealthy merchants coming here to trade left their mark, while its strategic location meant it was once fought over by Teutonic Prussia and Poland. A popular destination, its cobbled streets are lined with delightful old churches and elegant buildings, while interesting museums lie side by side with shops, restaurants and cafes. You can kick back and relax at some of the lovely beer gardens, or take a boat cruise from the port. From here, you can easily explore other places along the Baltic coast. 2. Warsaw. Almost completely destroyed in the Second World War, the city's old town has been painstakingly restored to some of its former glory. A mishmash of different architectural styles, Gothic churches, fantastic museums and modern edifices can be found among the drab gray concrete buildings of the communist era. With some lovely parks and diverse neighborhoods to wander around, Warsaw has many different sides to it. The nation's capital is a fun and interesting place to explore, with a plethora of great, cheap restaurants, bars and clubs for visitors and locals alike to indulge at. For a great view of Warsaw, head to the top of the domineering Palace of Culture and Science that towers over the tiny buildings below. 1. Krakow. An atmospheric place to visit, Krakow's gorgeous old town is mesmerizing. Delightful churches and old buildings line its picturesque squares. In fact, it has the biggest market square in Europe, in the shape of Rajnik Glony. A popular tourist destination, the former royal capital has lots to see and do, with Wawel Castle being just one of the highlights. There are endless options for great nightlife here if you get tired of exploring its historical sites and fantastic museums. The former Jewish quarter with all its synagogues is somber to walk around, and many tourists visit Krakow to take a trip to Auschwitz, a haunting yet important experience.